Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my confirmation seminar. The title, as you can see, National Culture and Knowledge Sharing, Empirical Study of Procurement of Educational Building Projects in Saudi Arabia. My presentation today will start by outlining what I'm going to talk about. I'll start by giving a little background overview of procurement of educational building in Saudi Arabia, and why I select national culture and knowledge sharing as a two parameters that I'm going to investigate in what way that educational buildings are procured in Saudi Arabia. Following that, I'll share with you the main finding that I get it from my literature review and how that lead me to my research question and research topic. After that, I will share with you the research methodology that I'm going to adopt to reach that objective. All that will put in a time frame or a research plan that what is the main task that I'm going to do in next 18 to 24 months. Of course, by the end of my presentation, there will be a time for question and answer. Actually, we cannot speak about Saudi Arabia without immediately thinking about the oil price. This chart demonstrates the average of oil price per barrel in last 30 years. It is more or less used to be constant until the 2004, and then huge jump happened in that price, especially in the last 18 months. I believe that will reflect a huge investment in Saudi Arabia infrastructure project, simply because Saudi Arabia is the world leading oil export. As a matter of fact, more than 10 million barrels a day export from there, and 1/4 of the oil reserve, proven oil reserve there in Saudi Arabia. So, as statistics show, 90% of the government revenue comes from oil. There are a huge rely in oil income. Saudi Arabia, with this high price of oil, expect to continue to enjoy a high level of income. Government publications show that up to $700 billion will invest in next 20 years in infrastructure projects. Of course, not all of that money will go to education. However, education will absorb a huge amount of this money simply because Saudi Arabia is a young country. More than 60% of the population is under the age of 25, which is the age of education. And Saudi Arabia has one of the world highest birth rate, approximately 3%. We are now about 27 million. In next future, it is in 2025, we'll expect to reach 40 million. It is only 17 years from now. As this chart demonstrates, the number of students enrolled in different educational sectors used to be less than 500,000 in less than 40 years ago. In 2006, that number reached 5.5 million. And all that students in need for facility to continue their education. Government make it clear from in last few years that the main sector of their investment will be in education and manpower. It absorbs approximately 1/3 of the annual budget of the country. Having this background, we have up to $100 billion US dollars will invest in next 20 years in educational building. Here I'd like to introduce the main player of the educational building in Saudi Arabia, or in education in general. We have the Ministry of Education, looking for school, Ministry of Higher Education, looking for university and university college, and last, Technical and Vocational Training Corporation, whom looking for the College of Technology and Vocational Training Centers. These three entities is sharing one thing in common. Each ministry or entity has a general directorate of project and maintenance who are responsible for implement that project. This general directorate is divided in 3 subsections: section of study and design, section of supervision and implementation, and last, maintenance and operation section. And as it's clear from its name, each one of these sections is responsible for one or more stage of the project. if we have a look for especially public project in Saudi Arabia, there are a main theme of challenge facing that project. The first one is the centralized nature of the General Directorate responsible for site work supervision. I'd like here to explain what I mean by centralized. Saudi Arabia is a very big country. General Directorate normally located in a capital, in the ministry itself. And imagine there are some, and they are responsible for all projects across the kingdom. There are some projects away from the capital by 1,300 kilometers. And this makes a huge pressure in staff working for that department. Talking about the staff, there are a small number, relatively small number of the staff working for that department, in parallel with a shortage of external qualified consultant office. If there are some consultant office, and there is, of course, but they are already overwhelmed by the huge quantity, large quantity of the project nowadays in Saudi Arabia. All that with a huge pressure from the government to speed up completion of that project simply to meet the demand. The combination of this challenge lead to ineffective way of dealing with the same problem occurring in similar project, but located in a different location. Ideally, in a perfect world, General Directorate would be able to use and combine of knowledge gained in previous or ongoing project. However, this is not the case. So, knowledge management and its application in this context warrants further study. I start my literature review by looking what's knowledge. It seems there are many definitions in a literature for knowledge. I choose this particular one by Lau in 2007, who defined the knowledge as the result of interpreting information based off the understanding of someone. Why I select this particular definition? Because it is focused more in tacit knowledge and project management. And many researchers, especially in knowledge management in construction, make it clear that tacit knowledge is more important than explicit knowledge in construction project. My concern is more about tacit knowledge because it is related to human interaction. What is knowledge management? It is that process of critical managing knowledge to meet existing needs. It involves identifying and exploiting existing and acquired knowledge assets, as well as developing new opportunities. Through my literature, I cover the historical perspective of knowledge management. I focus more in knowledge management in construction industry, and the main finding that I come out with is that the main goal of knowledge management is to facilitate knowledge sharing. And the most critical element of successful knowledge management as well is knowledge sharing, so the opportunity, the distribution of the right knowledge from and to the right people at the right time is the main challenge of knowledge sharing. What is knowledge sharing? It is those activities helping community of people to work together, facilitating the exchange of their knowledge, enabling a learning environment, and increasing the ability to achieve individual as well as organizational goal. From the literature, it is clear that if knowledge are shared, problem can be solved, and this is more in construction industry. Problem can be solved more quickly and effectively, and the cost of problem solving will reduce, as well as the chance to repeat the same problem will decrease. And all these things, as you can see, is very applicable to my case. Employees play a very important role in knowledge sharing, simply because the opportunity to knowledge sharing exists when people can interact and work together. Knowledge sharing is getting people thinking together. It is a personal behavior. So some people see knowledge as a power. The more knowledge I have, the less I share, the more power am I. Then here where the culture is very important factors that need to be understood to see how the national culture may affect positively or negatively the knowledge sharing practices.